Hi, everyone. This is Reiki Love. I'm here today with another Reiki master, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hello, everybody.
All right. I hope everybody is well. We're going to cover the Reiki 101. This is a first class. So anyone who is interested in Reiki is welcome. Let me see. Please. Okay, good. So let's learn Reiki. So since this is the first class, let's define Reiki. What is Reiki? Okay. Oh, before that, just a little bit about me, and then after this, let's please chime in just to briefly introduce yourself. So I am a spiritual scientist and wellness educator. I was born and raised in Japan, and I grew up in a spiritual family. I actually have spiritual family in a sense. My grandma from my father's side, I belong to some religious organization who practice Reiki. And since no one mentioned this word, I never knew that's what it was until, ironically, I came here, this country. But anyhow, much of a career as a scientist was in a long school. I've been around school as well as in the industry, and and here I am, going through the massive awakening period, and this is what I do for full time now. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this table just briefly to Dan, and Dan could introduce himself.
Hello,
Dan.
I'm Dan. I go by Guru Dan. It was a name that was given to me by internet friends a long time ago. It stuck because I seem to be I seem to be full of all kinds of interesting spiritual wisdoms, and they thought that I was a better guru than their gurus were. Anyway, that's how that happened. So when you see Guru Dan, I didn't name me. I didn't pick it. They picked it. It just stuck.
And
Anyway,
it's stuck, okay.
Reiki master stuff. Yeah, I've been through a lot of Reiki courses, all different kinds, traditional, some less traditional. Yeah, my spiritual awakening has been an interesting one. That's kind of a long story. I should do a video about that separately. But as far as the Reiki and things and some of the spiritual awakening, I awoke through illness. Some people awaken through, other diverse life experiences. But yeah, so I kind of have an interesting perspective from illness into wellness. So people find that very helpful. Um, but yeah, for just as a short, quick thing, yeah, that's me in the nutshell, and then the nuts get bigger as we get deeper into it. So let me just pause there and then let you get back to your
All right. So let's
criteria
get
there.
bigger. I kind of like that. Okay. Let me just. So Reiki was born in Japan. It is known as a healing art. The technique was perfected by Usui Sensei around about 100 years ago. However, Reiki was there even before Usui Sensei. I just wanted to mention that. Reiki is a Japanese word and pronounced as Rei and Ki with a Y. So Reiki, pronounced like Rei and Ki. And I definitely believe this is not coincidence that it related to Rei and Ki, which is actually the sound tone. It is a Rei is obviously English word as well, but it's a sound tone correspond to the different parts of a frequency band. So it is kind of interesting as you deepen your comprehension to Reiki. Its additional wisdom of Reiki energy will come to you. So I really encourage anyone to continue to learn and study on what you believe, what you like, right? And then you become more you're going to become more blessing and have appreciation toward the subject. and the energy of the subject, right? You're going to receive. So I like to be a catalyst for that if it's possible, whenever it's possible. Now let's turn to what other people are saying about Reiki. This is from Johns Hopkins website. It says, Reiki is a very specific form of energy healing in which hands are placed just off the body or lightly touching the body, as in laying on of hands. Reiki can also be done long distance as a form of prayer. I think I like this because it's very well described, and then also coming from a so-called modern science, representation of the medicine, organization. I did my postdoc in Hopkins School of Medicine, a wonderful doctor who truly care about the patient. I'm very impressed by them. And it goes on, that's some of the paragraph. I like to read it for you. Reiki is a very specific form of energy healing, which we just went over. Reiki can also be done long distance. This is something that you will learn as you complete level 2, okay? And at that point, you are likely be able to provide Reiki to others. So according to many versions of its origin, Dr. Mikao Usui, a Japanese seeker of spiritual truth, brought the Reiki method of healing into human awareness in 1922 after a deep spiritual experience. He is said to have begun teaching others after a serious earthquake hit Japan, and he felt urged to spread his knowledge. In a Reiki session, the practitioner is seeking to transmit universal life energy to the clients. The intention is to create deep relaxation to help speed healing, reduce pain, and decrease other symptoms you may be experiencing. This is true that Reiki often perceived as spiritual, at least to my opinion. Reiki does not have any association with religious establishment. It was said that originally, when Reiki came to Hawaii Island and to the United States and as a continent, it was taught that Reiki is part of Christianity. But it was said by Takada Sensei. However, please do understand that time it was during or right after the World War II. Right? She herself, as a Japanese, it is somewhat dangerous for her to say this is a Japanese healing practice when the American government was outwardly suppressing Reiki in Japan at that time. So it's understandable for her to teach Reiki more acceptable to the Western culture. So some of the Reiki to this day taught as somewhat relationship to a Christian religious healing. But I guess I just wanted to say that it's not born out of particular religious establishment. However, this does not mean it is not spiritual. Many associate Reiki as a spiritual healing, and that is perfectly fine. Okay. Reiki promotes natural healing. Reiki energy source resides in higher frequency band where consciousness is more organized and less distorted than this realm. A well-trained or attuned healer is able to pull this loving and harmonized energy down here onto this earthly body. So when I say earthly body, that doesn't mean just physical body. We have we are a truly multidimensional being, that means include not just physical body, go below this dimension, which is elemental or emotional body, which is the same, atomic body, and go up higher, astral body, and soul body, and spiritual body, right? So the Reiki healer, depending on your need at that time, be able to access to those layers of bodies and be able to facilitate the healing process. Reiki is known to be less invasive treatment modality. So I created this graph and just for your visual assistance. If you consider surgery as one of the most invasive modality, most people believe or praise Reiki as one of the least invasive one, and something in between, such as medication, acupressure, massage, and so forth. And this is often easily understood by those who are more new to energy healing. Okay, so I like to bring you to after the quick Q&A, we like to experience this Reiki energy. It is far better to experience than just listening to those type of lecture. So we will do some guided meditation. Before that, I like to introduce this prayer or gokai. It is Reiki healer is this is some kind of prayer meditation. In the morning and night, we're gonna do this every day to reset and rebalance our energy. So it is very simple. It is called. This was created by Usui Sensei. Art of Living in Bliss, Reiki healing for all illnesses. Basically, what he meant is the following: as long as we keep these 5 promises, we will not going to become ill. So, isn't it wonderful? Let's go over. Just for today, do not anger. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, be filled with gratitude. Just for today, do what you are meant to do. Just for today, be kind to people. So I just want to pause here briefly, kind of ask the audience to say which one of those is somewhat difficult for you. If you don't mind to speak up, or perhaps write down the message using a messenger. Messenger, I mean chat room. I'm sorry. What do you think? Well, let's ask Dan. Do you have any of those? Any item that less easy for you?
Yeah, for me, the least easiest one would be the do what you are meant to do, because that can be iffy on any given day. So it's it depends on how distracted I find myself in like the 3D reality. If I'm very distracted, it's a bit cloudy to figure out what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So when you're very distracted, it's difficult to find that clarity. So for me, it would be that one. But as a rule, I'm normally pretty generally kind to everybody. I try not to worry too much unless I have a valid worry. Then I will think it through and then vent it out and get rid of it. Anger, that's one of those things that we can experience in reality too. But I'm not angry often, not really.
Oh,
So
that's good. Yeah, so
and then
that's
gratitude.
pretty easy for you.
Yeah, gratitude's always a nice thing. Yeah, gratitude, be nice to people. Try not to be angry. Yeah, but try not to get too distracted from what you're meant to do. So If you're, it depends on how distracted you are in the reality. So anyway, for me, it would
Yeah,
be that one was the number one.
excellent. Okay, well, thank you for the feedback. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Jeffrey. Well, you made it.
Yeah, sorry I'm a little bit late.
That's okay. Everything
Okay.
is okay there?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Which one is it harder for you?
I guess, well, actually, it's easy to be filled with gratitude. What's not easy is feeling, is being aware, and feeling guilty about those who may not have what you have. You know what I mean?
Ah,
I
I
mean, it's
see.
not impossible to feel, to be grateful and guilty at the same time, You feel like you're being, every time I get put in a position where I feel helpless. When you feel, when somebody reminds you about what you have and then tells you about the other people and that they don't have the same thing as you, that makes you feel guilty.
Well,
And
okay,
then
that's a,
it's like, and sometimes, it makes you feel sad
I
because
see.
you feel like you want to do something to make up for it, but you can't.
Uh, you are you are like huge empath. So you are feeling a lot of things, maybe even more. So I could tell that you have no problem with be kind to people.
No,
Uh,
no,
maybe worry a little bit, but I do understand. Thank you for sharing. This is something you said. I'm little. I'd like to add a little bit to that, if you don't mind, without
sure.
taking. Yeah. So guilty is something that we, the society, that generated, and that it's not the original sets of emotion. So it become something that we all need to be aware of. So in terms of energetic healing, guilty and also in the people who can't feel anything are the one of the worst things to deal with because it does not vibrate. If it doesn't vibrate, it is difficult to move, right? Move them out of that field. So guilt is something that with society, we kind of co-create that things that does not energetic, that is not an energy. So that's something you probably want to deal with intellectual level and your logical mind. What is guilty of, because that's very unnatural creation. It is a way of you decided to think. It's an idea. So I give you an example, and I know Dan is really good at this, but I don't want to take too much time here for the guilt, but it's very important. I used to feel so sorry for animal being hit by a car, or yeah, just stop there, and just my heart goes out to them, and I start to hate the car, start to hate the road, the highway, and then the people, and then start to have this unconsciously building up to the hatred toward humanity. And it is funny, but I was really serious about it for many years, and realized that, you know what, uh, well, after I was able to visit different, experience a different realm and things, well, that was actually truly blessing things for that particular being, be able to accelerate, right, incarnation cycle, and be able to come back in a much more fulfilling life, which, each one of those, life is precious. But what we see from this dimension and from one perspective, it is just a perspective. And a person or animal being hit actually felt better that receive the loving and blessing energy than the sorry and the grief or sadness energy from others when the event being happened. Do you understand? So the same thing about people who are vegetarian, being attacking those people who eat meat, right? It actually
Yeah.
create more of sadness and more of the friction rather than just allow, being part of, that's great that we all have a food, right? If we go after all the same food, that's not really good. In my perspective, oh, that's good. You like meat, and I have a more vegetable here. So it is a very different. It's a your brain exercise that you need to be aware of. Know that guilt is not energy and embodied emotion. So what we have experienced, if we have a lot of guilt, we will take to the next place you go to, wherever that is, and that's kind of stuck within your field. So be a cognitive, and you are so empath, and you're such a kind person that you feel everybody, and you trust your feeling and emotion, though, because usually you are almost always right. But know that the guilt is something that we created. It's an artificial construct,
Yeah.
and often used by the people who like to control and dominate. Understand that too. For as a becoming a healer, that's something you need to overcome first, because you're going to see a lot of clients gonna come and create it a very unsafe and I don't know, less fulfilling, right, feeling created from the guilt. It's a lot going on, probably less here, but I see that a little more in Eastern culture, or in the people who from a particular religious organization. But anyway, what do you think about that, Jeffrey, when I said that?
I think it makes sense. I think you're right. I can't allow myself to feel hurt. It's about something I can't do. I guess I think I'll just do what you said. Just do what I am meant to do.
It is not what I said, Jeffrey, but it is difficult. Like Dan said, do what you are meant to do. Each moment is hard. But this is just for today, right? Just for today. It is just for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, though. It's important. I know there's many people here needed to hear what you just said, but also the people who are going to be listening to this recording. So thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Makiko.
Hello.
Hello. The thing I struggle with most is I just always had a predisposition to anxiety. I kind of maintained my life around a way, or kind of changed things up a little bit to where I have less worry, but I still kind of struggle with that. And I do find that when you're grateful, there's no room for worry. I think I read that somewhere. And so I'll try to just start being grateful whenever I'm afraid, and that's been something that's really helped me.
Yeah. No, I think you're correct. Yes, that's a good point. If you're grateful, you don't need to worry. It is something to say about that. So a lot of time we worry and we are anxious. It is when you feel the gap between now and then. That is a great teaching. The anxiety is just a gap between now and then. So what does it mean is you feel you should be this way, or you should be there already, but you're not. So you have a anxiety, or some people get anxiety attack because it's just so fearing experience. that you are not there or you don't have the certain thing which is you set in your mind. It has to be this way for me to feel safe, for me to feel okay, for me to feel loved, for me to feel I'm enough. And any time that you are not there, that state, right? Depending on how important that is, we tend to start to worry, and that become unease feeling and showing up of anxiety. So what you said about if I feel more gratitude, if I feel more grateful, we probably feel less. Yes, you're definitely correct, because when we try to focus on something we have and amplify that feeling, the energy shift, and that act itself bring yourself to this present moment. You are narrowing a gap. You are here now fully. And then there's no worry and no anxiety. Because worry and anxiety is simply we are not here. Most of our energy are not here. And then we feel anxious. So grateful is one of the good technique and beautiful things to do. When we want to have a luxury, let's say luxury means something we want to feel comfortable with. Let's say, people say, oh, if I have more money, I could do this, right? So let's say not to imagine that you have a lot of money, because that doesn't really get to you the state. But how do you want to feel like? Okay, I want to have a very comfortable living. So you imagine what is a comfortable living that is, right? Just kind of really emphasize that visually, and then think it through. Do I have some of that now? I kind of zoom right into what you already have and make you feel very comfortable. It could be a cup of hot chocolate, whipped cream on it or something. I don't know, where it make you feel happy and content, right? But you kind of zoom right in, then oh my God, I can't believe I have those things, without feeling a guilt, and be grateful, right? And by amplifying that thought process and idea and a feeling and sensation, and you attract more of that energetically. And before you know it, you have even more of those and less anxious and worry. So that is a great technique. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely, you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't know.
Yeah.
She know it's coming. Is there any question or anything else I'd like to add, Diane?
I guess, and you were asking what is the hardest, would be the most difficult
Yeah.
among those things. For me, I think do what you're meant to do, partially because I have ADD, so it's hard for me to focus on getting things done. But also, I'm still searching for, what I was actually meant to do in this lifetime. So mostly it's kind of like doing the things I need to get, through the day, but I don't really know yet what I'm meant to do here on Earth.
Yeah, that's a very awakened comment. A couple of things you said, it's most people may not gonna say it, right? Oh, I don't know what I'm meant to do this lifetime, right? So that
Yeah.
itself, you have many other lifetimes, right? Already, and
yeah.
and you said first, because I am ADD or something, that so that is those are things that are self-awareness, but are also kind of understand buying into those label. And then part of your mind is, I do want to overcome that, right? Otherwise, you are not going to openly pronounce that. So you're already kind of healing journey for probably for a while, and you've been spiritually awakened. I don't know, from the beginning or fairly early on. So the thing is, you already accomplished a lot of things already. For most people, hasn't even get to the start line, right? So you're already kind of probably done it, and perhaps a lot of things you need to do. Simply being present this moment and doing that. And so yeah, sometimes it's a hard things to do though. Think about it. To be who you are, it is very hard now, especially.
Yes.
Yeah, we are like all over the places. Yeah. Now is a really good time to find out, those, to find out how difficult it is to be who you are. So thank you for sharing those thoughts and the comments. Now, okay. Since I hear some deep, I'm gonna stop. That's okay. I'm gonna stop share and say thank you for coming here today, and thank you for being a part of the Earth Day celebration. It's a Mother Earth 50th day, Earth Day. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have a deep compassion and love toward the Earth, Mother Earth. Yeah. So I would really like you to, I know you do this anyway, but I want you to think of the one of the beautiful scenery you ever seen. I want you to visualize when you just say, wow, what a beautiful sunset. My God, this is a breathtaking view. Or you felt Mother Earth, right? When you are, gardening or hugging these beautiful trees. I want you to bring that emotion and feeling, and really want you to engage with Mother Earth. Breathe in and exhale. Reach down deep to Mother Earth, all the way down to her heart, which is the core of the earth. And inhale the energy from the earth all the way up to your heart. Exhale out. Feel the loving energy of the earth. Each time we embrace Mother Earth in this way, she feels deeply. We tend to forget. So just simply visualize the beautiful earth, amazing, awesome, the planet Mother Earth, and we are part of her. By connecting with the earth in this way, the healer could reach even higher frequency. So this is why the Reiki healer always send gratitude to Mother Earth first. When they say, ground yourself, it's exactly what it means. See, Dan is always grounded, yes? Well, most of the time. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you.
yes, thank you. It's a beautiful
Thank you.
Hope to
Thank
see you
you.
soon. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody. All right, I'll stop here.